Well, another 24 hours to talk about this delightful cast that we have on Big Brother 27. Where last night, Mickey and Morgan just devolved into these big haters. And I've gotten, not a lot, but a little bit of pushback talking about Mickey's praying. But we're going to talk about it again. Because it's already one thing to make a joke of her own religion by praying for vetoes, which her prayers are never answered in the vetoes. The opposite has happened every time. But now, with last night, Mickey and Morgan just being really, as I called Mickey yesterday, pieces of shit. I don't like when people hide behind their religion, try and use religion as something to hide behind. And that's exactly what Mickey has done this week. Because last night they were hating on Jimmy's cooking, and in the first place, they've had to villainize Jimmy because Mickey did not have this real good reason to put him up. It is, she's trying to make herself seem so morally superior that she had to put up Jimmy for supposedly doing stuff against her alliance, while her HOH has been her doing stuff against her allies. So the hypocrisy there too. So she's had to continue to shit on Jimmy. But that wasn't enough. Yesterday they celebrated Callie's birthday, even though her birthday is tonight. But that, for probably episode purposes, they recorded it last night. And Mickey and Morgan sat up there, these two who are always about praying and always about, just being good old religious girls. They were shitting on the fact that Kelly had a birthday celebration. Like, why is Big Brother doing this for Kelly? And why are people like Ashley so happy at this celebration? And Jimmy's being fake, being happy for Kelly's birthday. Just really demented shit. And the big thing was probably their Morgan went on for hours yesterday talking shit about Ashley because how dare Ashley disagree with Mickey's decision? And there's a lot more where Morgan is concerned with Ashley because Morgan is, as I said yesterday, always gargling on Zach's balls because she wants Zach so bad, even though he continues to call her mother, which she freaked out about again yesterday. And every time Zach and Ashley are together now, Morgan looks miserable. So that plays into her hatred for Ashley yesterday. Mickey was also talking a lot of shit about Ashley yesterday as well, because like I said, she is hurt because Ashley's not being her minion this week and agreeing with her decision because Ashley rightfully called it out that Jimmy wasn't coming after Mickey. But unfortunately, the illogicalness has prevailed with those two. Now, last night, after Mickey was talking shit about Ashley all day, Ashley tried to have this conversation with Mickey in the wee hours of the morning, trying to get through to her. Mickey was being a cold bitch during that conversation at first, not giving Ashley anything. But I think Ashley, being an attorney, was able to pick at it, and finally have a breakthrough with Mickey. It took a long time, and I like that during the conversation, Ashley was basically trying to tell Mickey, why am I supposed to be the bigger person when you're 10 years older than me? Which was more facts. Mickey and Morgan in their 30s, the way they've been acting this week, pretty damn embarrassing. They've been quite an embarrassment. But I'm glad that Ashley kept trying to get through to Mickey last night, and what worked was her changing tactics to start shitting on Jimmy as well, because that seems to be Mickey's love language this week, is shitting on Jimmy, even though Jimmy would have not came for her anytime soon. That worked in getting Ashley and Mickey to kind of have some headway, and Mickey started giving Ashley some information, and more importantly, Ashley gave Mickey some information, the important information that Zach and Vince tried to flip the vote on Will last night, and that they went to Ava trying to do that. And if Mickey was any kind of decent HOH, instead of an HOH with the worst kind of HOH-itis, She probably should have got this kind of information before her nominations, or at least before the renom, but no. And we'll get back to this in a second, but something that's been annoying me is I've seen some people online trying to say that not enough people tried to fight for Mickey to not renom Jimmy. And it's true, Rachel could have pushed back more, Ashley could have pushed back more, but they did push back. The fact is that as soon as the feeds turned back on after the veto, Rachel was throwing out Vince's name. Mickey was shutting it down. Mickey didn't even want to have a conversation at that point because she already had somehow made it up in her mind that Jimmy was going to be the replacement. And then she spent the whole day talking to Morgan about it, and that was the end of that. So I don't think anybody could have gotten through to Mickey because, as I said on those days in my videos, Mickey was hearing what she wanted to hear. And what she wanted to hear was Jimmy bad and Jimmy doesn't make faithful decisions or whatever the fuck that was. Back to Ashley telling Mickey the information about Vince and Zach, though, trying to flip the vote on Will last week. Mickey then, after that conversation, went to Ava to try and see if that was the truth. Ava admitted that was the truth. And finally, Mickey sees, oh, wait, everybody's been right. At least Rachel and Ashley's been telling me that Vince is connected to everyone. And Vince is actually the person playing the most sides the most. But unfortunately, she put Jimmy up this week. So now she's like, Vince has to go next. But it's a little too late for that, Mickey. You had screwed up the whole week. Screwed up the whole game, quite frankly. So now we're kind of just waiting on, can Jimmy win the blockbuster or not? And if not, well, then Rachel and Ashley are probably screwed. I'm glad that Mickey finally sees that she got played by Vince, and I would like to think she would start to see that she's been played by Morgan this week as well. She has said today that Morgan always sticking up for Vince is getting annoying. Well, this is the person you attached yourself to all week. She just made such bad decisions this week. And that's why I don't think Mickey could ever actually get back on my good side in this game. But we'll see if she can somehow fix her game. But I'm not going to get my hopes up because she's really, really dumb. And also the fact that they got played by Keanu this week. Because I think Keanu could still possibly go for Morgan and Mickey. He's talked about it. We'll see if he does. But the fact that they got played by the person that's had some of the worst reads all season in Keanu says a lot about Morgan and Mickey this week. Ava, in her conversation with Mickey in the wee hours of the morning, was still shitting on Ashley as well. People have become very, very upset with Ava about that and how she's not fighting for Jimmy to stay this week with the numbers dwindling. But I mean, I kind of agree. Ava gets on my nerves because she only likes to clock into the game like a couple hours a day. And that's just not going to work long term. I commend her trying to have these individual relationships. And I know she shits on Ashley because, one, it's easy to pile on Ashley in this house because of the way Ashley's game started, unfortunately. She started on the bottom socially because people lied about her shower. But also, I think she knows that Ashley got more information out of her than she wanted Ashley to get out of her. And now Ava's trying to look better in Mickey's eyes. So in some ways, Mickey's HOH has worked on players like Ava because they have that prior relationship. And with Mickey and all her HOH-itis, Ava wants to prove herself to Mickey right now as well. Another interesting person over these past couple days, and interesting might be the wrong word because he's not very interesting, is Will. As I said yesterday, when Will and Ava were in the same room with Mickey, when Ava was throwing Ashley under the bus, Will went along with it. And Will kind of piled on Ashley yesterday as well, even though he's supposed to be Ashley's number one. Will had to, in that conversation, pivot and go along with Ava and Mickey to save his own face. He couldn't be sticking up for Ashley when clearly Mickey and Ava are upset with Ashley and piling on her. So that was good of Will. I have big gripes with Will, though. He has a lot of information. I think he wants Mickey and Ashley to get along because that's better for his game. But he has all this information that could help them get along more. But he's so damn passive. I see a lot of comments. I had some last night about there being too many like beta men in the game because they're all so weak, and it's easy to like throw that on the millennial and the Gen Z men. But the weakest male in the house might be Mr. Gen X Will, because the passiveness from him is pretty unbearable. And I feel like if anyone should have wanted to go to war this week, it should have been him, because he needs a war to have a better position in the game than where he's been. If he hadn't been whining and bitching about being a pawn for 2 weeks, I'd feel different. But he has been whining and bitching about being a pawn for 2 weeks. He got this week off, but the prior 2 weeks is what I'm talking about. So I feel like if anyone should really try and keep Jimmy this week, especially after learning that Zach and Vince tried to flip and get him out last week, it should be him. Will should be fighting for Jimmy this week. He should be wanting to draw a line if he wants to cry about being a pawn. But instead, him playing the way he has this week of just going with the house and going with Mickey, it does nothing for his position. And he's just going to find himself being a pawn again, because it's the easy thing to do for someone who's playing such a weak game. So if going forward, since Will has not been playing hard to go to war this week, and if he ends up as a pawn again and he's just crying about it, well, then he's going to be an old bald-headed bitch to me, because that's what he acts like when he's on the block, and it will be nothing but his own fault. Who else do we got to talk about today? I will say that Keanu, I feel like, wants the vote to flip today. I do get the impression that he will love to flip the vote on Vince and Zach this week for them doing that to him last week. The problem is that today nobody's really biting at Keanu, because Ashley doesn't trust Keanu enough, and Ashley already feels like she did some damage with Mickey yesterday, that Ashley no longer wants to fight hard to keep Jimmy in a vote either. Keanu and Rachel had a good conversation. I never trust Keanu and Rachel conversations, because Rachel tries so hard to help Keanu see the game better, and then he usually goes to someone else and throws Rachel under the bus. I haven't seen him do that yet today, but it's probably inevitable. So I want to root for Keanu to somehow be able to flip the vote, but it's just not going to happen, I fear. Rachel tried to play with Zach's mind just a bit ago, trying to say that if it comes down to Jimmy and Kelly, Zach should want Jimmy to stay because he is a target in front of Zach, and Kelly might not be. It's a good argument, but I don't think Zach's going to go for that quite yet. I will also say I love that Jimmy told Ashley that Zach has been talking about not only putting her up on the block, but making her have-not. Last night, Ashley wasn't completely buying that information because Jimmy can be a liar. But I do think she's starting to see Zach as a problem. And I do think Ashley tries to play Zach too. Like, that is not just Zach playing Ashley. That is Ashley trying to play Zach as well. Unlike Morgan and Zach's relationship, where she's just so down bad for the guy and gargling his balls in her mouth. Riley's upset that people are talking about Jimmy, that Jimmy's fighting to stay. Like, Riley just hates that he's in a game. He doesn't want to be in a game. He just wants to be there to harass Kat all day. He is such a man-child. He really always tries to play the victim with Kat to try and emotionally manipulate her into kissing him, eventually having sex with him. He just wants one thing, and that is Kat's cat. And yeah, it's cringe still to watch. It's not gonna stop. He's gotten mad at her a lot today. He was throwing something at her. She got mad and said it's a pet peeve when people throw things at her. He got all upset saying, "Oh, well, then I won't hang around you all day today." It's really petty, weird shit that Riley says to Kat when she gets uncomfortable with something he does. Kat is always trying to put boundaries with him. Yes, Kat sits up there and lets him rub her down and spoon with her and all. But she still sets boundaries, and he's always trying to knock them down. But I still don't feel sorry for her because she could play a different game. But this is the only game she's been playing, is this flirt match with Riley, who, by the way, the editing for Riley is just so... This show is obsessed with giving good edits to the worst guys. The worst guys always get the best edits, and it's very strange. Grodner is a very weird woman. I think Grodner is Kat. Like, Grodner is her own version of Kat. She loves gargling the balls of like the worst men that she's ever casted and giving them good edits. So all in all, I think Jimmy needs to win the blockbuster. I'm probably feeling negative about it. I don't think he's going to win. I'm just expecting the worst. I'm expecting not only Jimmy to lose, but somebody terrible to win HOH. And we're in store for another bad week because Mickey ruined the game this week with her stupid decision making because she doesn't have a brain. I don't know when my next update will be. I probably won't be able to do one tomorrow. Friday is also up in the air. So if there's a good HOH, I might try and wake up early enough on Friday to give a video. But if not, it might be very late on Friday. Might not even be until Saturday. Especially if there's a bad HOH, I might not be back until Saturday because who can stomach another shitty week? After Lauren and Mickey's HOHs back to back, this season needs someone like Rachel or Ashley or Jimmy to stay and win HOH. Jimmy staying in the blockbuster and winning HOH would fix the direction this season has been going on in the last 2 weeks. But I don't expect it to happen because we never get nice things most of the time with this damn show.